Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is former Nashville Mayor Karl Dean, who is running as a Democratic candidate for governor in the August 2nd primary. Mayor, this is going to be the most expensive governor's race, along with the Senate race, the most expensive election cycle in Tennessee history.
Right.
Does it concern you that you have to be rich to either give or loan your campaign money or raise that kind of money that's going to take millions and millions of dollars to be elected to a statewide office?
Well, I think, money has played over the years an ever-increasing important role, and I think it's obviously you need money to compete. But, one of the things I'm proudest of, we have more individual donors to our campaign than anybody. We have 6,000, and we have done very well in terms of raising money. And I think at this point, and this will change probably over time, but at this point, I probably put less of my own personal money into the campaign than any candidate.
Going back to Metro, one of the issues about Metro that has come up in your race is Craig Fitzhugh, your opponent, launched a pretty strong attack against you over the alleged use of some federal relief, flood relief monies to help build the Ascend Amphitheater. How do you defend yourself that no laws were broken or funds used improperly?
Well, I think everybody who has any knowledge of it or been involved in any way understands that there's certainly no allegation even there's any laws broken, and they certainly weren't. I mean, that process was open. It was done through approvals of MDHA and the council, and actually called for some community involvement. But what was involved there was, after 3 years, we had money that was given to us in community block grants for flood relief and community redevelopment, and either you use the money or you lose it. And we worked to do flood mitigation work on the area of the amphitheater site and to help develop that site for the amphitheater. Which was exactly in accordance with what we were supposed to do. And so we could have done nothing, or we could have invested in Nashville and made it a better place and used it correctly. As
I recall, some of the money being involved with the Ascend Amphitheater was also part of an overall flood mitigation effort.
Right.
The flood wall, as it's been called, down along the river.
Right.
That flood wall has never been approved by the council. In fact, they've rejected the idea about 3 times. Mayor Briley is now coming back for a 4th time. I know this is not your deal anymore, but should the flood wall go ahead and be built? Should the council reconsider
I certainly believed in it, and I think the flood mitigation work that was done along the river as part of this, including plans for the future and the present, it was a good thing for the city, and I think that was the right thing to do. And as I say, we could either return that money to the federal government, or we could use it to create economic energy and to make the city safer from future flooding.
In your TV spot that's been on recently, you talk about how, as mayor of Nashville, you saved money, cut costs, and able to continue to provide more money for schools and provide money for pay raises for city workers. We have just the reverse of that right now. The funds are so tight that we've had to forego pay increases, and we have not been able to fund the schools at the level they'd like to. What's changed? What's happened? Nashville continues to move.
I mean, I think you got to look at my 8 years as mayor. I had interesting times. I had a flood and I had a great recession, and so I don't know that we were able to do anything that we wanted to do with raises for city workers during the first term because of the recession. But we made a conscious decision that we had to make cuts. We weren't going to raise taxes, but we were going to protect education, and we were going to protect public safety and work on economic development, and we did all of that. But in my second term, I think largely because of the investments we made in the first term, the city took off. And so we were able to increase school budgets by 37%, do $625 million in capital programs, do pay raises, invest in libraries and greenways and things that make the city better. And when I left office, I mean, we had, in terms of where we left the budget, the revenue went up by about $120 million 2 years in a row. I don't think a mayor leaving office has ever left the city in that good a shape, and we increased the reserve fund. So, I mean, I think we did the best we could in difficult times, and I was very proud of the fact that we were managed through the recession, and then we got the benefit of the city booming and taking off.
One other emerging issue, perhaps in the governor's race, is President Trump's decision to impose the tariffs on steel and aluminum coming into this country. I understand about half the manufacturing jobs in the state are dependent on the automobile, which is in turn dependent very much, that industry is on steel. Right. What can the governor do about that? Are you concerned about these tariffs and what it might do to jobs?
I mean, obviously, trade policy is a federal issue, but I am very concerned about that, and I'm concerned about it because of the auto industry and other industries in our state, but I'm also concerned about it for our agriculture, for farmers. They will also suffer if we have a trade war. So hopefully that we're not going to end up having trade wars and tariffs imposed upon us that will damage the Tennessee economy. So I'm watching that very carefully, and I think what a governor can do is be an advocate for farmers and for the industry that's in Tennessee to make sure that that continually prospers, and hopefully you can get the ear of the president and say this is what will happen to Tennessee if this happens.
I know you expect to be the next governor, but if you're not, what does Karl Dean do after that? You go back to practice law? You go back to teach?
You know, I really don't know. I love teaching. I taught for a couple of years after I stopped being mayor, and I enjoyed that immensely, but we'll just see. Mayor, thank you so much for coming in, and good luck the rest of the campaign. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Inside Politics this week. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.